Peace, family. It's your brother, Marc Lamont Hill. You're watching the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel. Today is day 195 of Israel's war on Gaza. That's right, day 195. And the reason why we refer to it as a war on Gaza, if you haven't seen this, is because oftentimes corporate media frames it as a battle between two evenly matched sides, or a battle between two institutions or two nation states. And that's not what's happening. Some people frame it as a war of Israel against a terror network. The truth here is that Israel has engaged in a 195-day devastation of the Gaza Strip that has turned into a full-fledged genocide. This is not a war against Hamas. This is not a war against terrorism. This is not a war even to avenge Hamas's attack from October 7th. This has fundamentally and ultimately become a war on the Palestinian people, and more specifically, a war on the Palestinian people of Gaza. And so every day we cover it. Every day we talk about it. Every day we give you an analysis that corporate media doesn't give. Every day we give you a breakdown that mainstream outlets will not give you. And the reason we do this is because we never want to conceal the truth. We never want to hide what's going on in the world, but especially on this issue. And so we begin where they don't want you to begin, which is with the numbers. At least 33,000 people, 970, have been killed so far since October 7th. I'm going to say that number again. 33,970 people have been killed since the October 7th attacks. All of those people I'm talking about are Palestinian, all of them in Gaza. At the same time, 76,770 people have been wounded in Israeli attacks on Gaza. The death toll in Israel from Hamas's October 7th attack remains at 1,139, with dozens of people captive in Gaza. Some people say the number is as high as 130. Others say the number is lower. But either way, there are numerous people who are Israeli and foreign nationals who have been kidnapped. Either way, there's 1,139 people who have been killed. But on the other hand, we see an extraordinary level of disproportionality, 33,970 people killed in Gaza, and that's not counting the more than 8,000 people whose bodies lay under the rubble, unclaimed, but certainly not alive. So we're really looking at more than 40,000 people. It's a devastating number, and that number continues to grow. When you talk about bodies that are missing or undiscovered today, at least 30 bodies buried in front of Al-Shifa Hospital have been discovered. These are bodies that were discovered by health workers in front of Al-Shifa Hospital, which of course is the largest hospital in Gaza. It's in Gaza City. Al-Shifa was the target of many raids, many bombings, many invasions since October 7th, multiple waves of it. A couple of weeks ago here on the Marc Lamont Hill official channel, we had an interview with Abdul Wahab Abu Warda, who talked about what it meant to be under siege, what it meant to be attacked, what it meant to have only 5 doctors left, and they're treating people on the ground because they don't have hospital rooms, hospital beds. They're running low on medicine. They don't have any of the things that are necessary to produce the kind of outcomes that we want to see in a hospital, which is healing people. 11 of the 12 hospitals were rendered almost inoperable as maybe a month ago. And now we're slowly seeing some signs of possibility that we may see a turnaround, but right now the hospitals are destroyed, but also many people have been killed near the hospital. And these mass graves that we're finding are further evidence that the death count, despite what the West has told you, is actually probably undercounted. And it also gives you a window into the level of brutality, the high number of dead bodies, and a high number of violent attacks that have taken place, not just at Al-Shifa Hospital, but also other hospitals, Al-Ahli, Al-Amal. There's no reason to believe that these death numbers are not going to continue to grow at the same pace if we don't pay careful attention to the way that the Israeli government and the Israeli military, more specifically, has assaulted hospitals, has ignored international law, has disregarded all conventions of war in prosecuting this war on the Palestinian people. On top of those 30 bodies that were found, at least 11 people, including 5 children, have been killed in the latest wave of Israeli airstrikes on Rafah, which is the southern Gaza city where right now 1.5 million Palestinians are situated. Again, Rafah is normally a city that holds 250,000 people, but because of all of the violence in the north, because of all the violence in the center part of the strip, 1.5 million Palestinians have been displaced there. And that's not the end. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is promising, not implying, not suggesting, not threatening, but promising an airstrike, a ground invasion in Rafah, which means that those 1.5 million people who have already been displaced, who are already unhoused, in fact, 1.7 million of Gazan residents are unhoused right now, that all of them will be vulnerable again after this ground invasion. It's going to be a humanitarian nightmare. Even some of the biggest allies of Israel, like Germany, have said no ground invasion. And I'm hearing rumors that the U.S., which has been against the ground invasion, may allow it if Israel does not engage in a strike back against Iran, who was striking back against Israel's initial attack against their consulate in Damascus. So this is the profile right now: death, uncertainty, unsafety all around. The Prime Minister of Qatar says the country is reviewing its mediator role in Gaza ceasefire talks, accusing some parties, using their quotes, some parties, of using the process for narrow political interest. In other words, he's suggesting that, and I don't know who he's necessarily referring to, but he's saying that people aren't really genuinely trying to produce a ceasefire, but they're simply trying to advance their own political interest. That could be the United States, that could be Egypt, that could be Jordan. We'll investigate and see what happens. Later this week, the UN Security Council is scheduled to vote on a Palestinian request for full UN membership, not observer status, but full membership. And of course, we expect the United States to block that move, which is very unwise, but not unpredictable. Ahmed Attaf, Algeria's foreign minister, says that it's now time for a two-state solution, but that time is running out. He says the two-state solution is facing imminent mortal danger. Imminent mortal danger. We must save this solution before it's too late, which means granting the status of full membership to the state of Palestine to safeguard peace. Any hesitation will have disastrous consequences and will give green light to the Israeli occupation to continue with its plan of stealing. He used the word stealing. This is tough. Let's talk a little bit about Antonio Guterres. He is the UN Secretary General, and he has been very articulate in saying that Israel is, quote, not doing enough to allow aid into Gaza. This has been a recurring problem since the ICJ issued its decision and its emergency measures and sort of demanded that the United States, that Israel do more or do very specific measures and take very specific actions to prevent genocide, to ensure that there was no genocide. These provisional measures have largely been ignored. They say they're going to allow more aid in, and trucks still get blocked. They say they're going to allow more aid in, and they kill people while waiting to get aid. Think about what happened at the Kuwaiti roundabout just about a month ago, 5 weeks ago now. They say they're going to allow more aid in, and then humanitarians from the World Central Kitchen get killed. According to the UN, according to Mr. Guterres, Israel denied 40% of the UN's request to get aid trucks into Gaza last week. This isn't going to go anywhere. Until someone does something, this doesn't stop. Israel is not going to simply stop its current trajectory. So we have to stop our current trajectory as an international community. We have to apply economic pressure. We have to apply diplomatic pressure. We have to apply any kind of reasonable, safe pressure that is necessary to prevent humanitarian aid from being obstructed. Right now, poor people need resources. Hungry people need food. Naked people need clothing. Unhoused people need shelter. These are not radical calls. These are not radical cries. These are just normal human demands that we got to think about and that we have to move on. And that is what's happening here in the war on Gaza. All right, family. Much more to be said. We'll continue to cover it every single day right here on the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel. I want to thank you for watching the War on Gaza report. And what I'd like you to do now is hit the like button. If you haven't hit the like button before, hit it now. If you hit it before, hit it 3 times, whatever you got to do, but hit the like button here because the algorithms need to know that you want this type of content. I also ask that you hit the subscribe button because when you hit the subscribe button, you get to join the conversation on a regular basis. Hit that little bell next to the subscribe button so you can get notifications of what's going on as well. And when you do that, you find out everything we have going on. And of course, if you're so inclined, hit the join button. If you hit the join button, you become a monthly subscriber to the channel. And becoming a monthly subscriber to the channel allows you to support what we do financially. Allows us to help build new studio space. It allows us to pay our producers and editors. It allows us to continue to put out content that you value. And if you want to go around the YouTube infrastructure or you don't want to make a monthly commitment, just go to Cash App or Venmo, go to MLH TV on both of those spaces and make a donation. There's not a donation amount that is too small. Feel free to drop $1 in, $2, and it doesn't matter. But if everybody watching right now were to send $4, if everybody watching right now were to send $4, we would have the resources we need to pay our bills for the week. If everybody watching right now gave $4, we would have the resources we need to pay our staff, to pay our studio, to put into our studio building fund, I should say, and to start moving toward new technology. So we're grateful for everything that you can do. But if you can't do anything financially, that's cool. Just hit the like button. Watch them ads when they come up, and spread the word, share the videos, let people know that what you're getting here on this channel is valuable to you. All right, family, until later.